Mario, and you're watching Cybernet.
Grab your passport, because we're going to jet off to LA for the biggest computer show ever. Sail the seas to Paris for some incredible interneting, and take to the tracks and the pitch for some serious sport. Get your breath back, take a seat, and get ready for Cybernet. You know we'll go any distance to bring you the latest gossip from the gaming world, and this week's no exception. We've just got back from E3, the massive computer and game trade show held in Los Angeles. Anybody who's anybody was there, all showing off their new products, and there were even some familiar faces.
That's incredible!
I couldn't agree more, Mr. Klingon. Psygnosis unveiled a load of new games, including the sequel to their best-selling racer, Wipeout. And a new platformer featuring some characters you might recognise. While Sony were proudly showing their new character, Crash Bandicoot. Could this strange creature be the new Sonic or Mario? Well, although the game looks pretty good, we'll just have to wait and see. Sony were also responsible for one of the biggest bits of news of the show. They've decided to drop the price of the PlayStation by a whole third, which could open the door to many new gamers. And right next door, Sega did exactly the same thing with the Saturn, dropping the price by the same amount. And it's good to see that they were still supporting 16-bit, with a new 3D Mega Drive title, Sonic Blast. But it wasn't all games. They were also demonstrating how you could connect to the internet using a Saturn. We'll have more on that in a few weeks' time. But blowing everyone else away at this year's E3 was Nintendo. They definitely had one of the biggest and most crowded stands. And why? Because they were officially showing their new N64 machine and a selection of the titles planned for it. There was an impressive laser show, and Mario's arch-rival Wario even got a look in.
Oh, hello, I'm on TV, look.
They were also revealing their new slimline Game Boy, as well as new SNES titles like Donkey Kong Country 3, and we'll be showing you much more of those very soon, promise. X007 George Lazenby was just a few feet away from the chaos promoting a new title, Fox Hunt. But why is he appearing in a computer game?
The reason I'm in it is because it's based on the James Bond theme, and I was too old to play James Bond. So they thought, why not use him as a Q-type character? Being George Lazenby. I said, why not?
But it wasn't just famous people at E3. All sorts of strange characters were walking around. And if the crowds got too much, you could always hide away in virtual reality, or even a VR pod, where you could totally immerse yourself in your favourite game. It looks a bit claustrophobic to me, but what's it all about?
We've just developed this new virtual reality product to work with virtual reality headsets, basically giving you sight, sound, and feel.
And outside the halls, a team of people were busy building the world's largest Lego computer. It took 3 whole days to complete, and you can probably see why. While inside, they were showing off their new virtual Lego package. But for something a little more refreshing, virtual surfing was offering the ultimate thrill without getting wet. Hidden away upstairs was DreamWorks, the new company set up by Steven Spielberg and Bill Gates, and we managed to sneak our way in. They were only showing a few titles, but what they had looked very impressive. Everyone at E3 seemed to be having a good time, and there was so much going on that we can't fit it all in this week. If you don't believe how massive it was, just look at the effect it had on a few of the visitors. It was just too much for some. After excellent footy titles like Actua and FIFA, you may think we'd seen the last of football games, but along comes Power Soccer, ready to give everything else on the market a run for its money. Like any good football game, you start at the options screen, where you'll be given the chance to select everything from the language you want the excellent running commentary to be in to your favourite teams and players. It'll take some time because there's loads to choose from. Once the action starts, you won't be disappointed. The control you have over your players is extremely versatile, with something for the beginner and the football master. You can even try and get to grips with the special modes built into the game. These include spectacular tricks like volleys, juggling and bicycle kicks.
This game's still lacking something.
The attention to detail is also second to none, with all of the major European teams included in the game. And by the way, whoever decided to make the footballers limp about when injured deserves a round of applause. In fact, it really is difficult to fault this game, and PlayStation owners are in for a real treat.
Excellent play.
Well, football games have come a long way since the days of sensible soccer and striker, and inviting a few friends around for your very own mini tournament may now be the next best thing to playing it for real. In fact, the only difference is you certainly won't get as fit sitting in front of your PlayStation.
This is a real joy to watch.
So you've played Wipeout on the PlayStation and Screamer on the PC, and you've also had a go at Sega Rally. Well, if you're still not tired of the been there and done it racing game, well, we have something which might be worth taking a look at. World Rally Fever sees you racing all over the world, visiting glamorous places like New York, Brazil, Tokyo and Tibet. 1 minute you might find yourself surveying the beauty of the English countryside, roaring past rolling hills and jumping over water trenches. Then it's across the water to the easy life of the French country gentleman. But please don't forget to say bonjour to the sheep. The game offers a range of suitable levels from the rookie right through to all you speed demons out there. Just make your choice from the 8 different races on offer, wait for the green light, put that foot down. What makes this game so much fun is it's easy to use. Everything is kept simple and it's perfect for all you PC owners who haven't crept up to the world of Pentium processors yet. Just make sure you mind those big old gaps in the road. Okay, the graphics might not be up there with the best, but the game cannot be faulted for its sheer playability and overall appeal. If you're after a racing game which doesn't take a week to learn how to play, World Rally Fever could be the one for you. From one recent racing game to one on its way, Jeff Crammond's Grand Prix 2 is the long-awaited sequel to Grand Prix. If you want great simulation, realistically modelled Formula 1 cars and finely recreated racetracks from all over the world, you better start saving up now. The original Grand Prix was a big success on the Amiga back in 1992, where attention to detail got more of a look in than arcade action. You could fiddle and fine-tune your car forever. Well, now it's back with a vengeance and probably an accompanying instruction booklet to keep you up half the night. Of course, the graphics and sound have all been improved, and the program's artificial intelligence has been upgraded to offer the player a more realistic challenge. There'll also be a modem link for all you surfers out there. Whether this sequel will hit the big time in the world of racing games remains to be seen, but there's no doubting the amount of detail the programmers have gone into, right up to the sunlight glinting as you race. So whether your name's Damon Hill, Michael Schumacher or just plain old John Smith, this could be the next best thing to a day at the races. Time now for a pint-sized heroine as the minuscule Thumbelina ventures her way onto PC. This is an interactive storybook based on Don Bluth's recent animated movie.
Once upon a time, there was a lovely woman who longed to have a child to call her own.
You flick through the story of Thumbelina and everything's read out loud as you go along. If you don't want to hear the narrator, you can select to simply read the story yourself, or just click on the bottom of the page to turn over. Thumbelina is a beautifully detailed package, and it's more than just a book. On certain pages, if you click at the side of a picture, you'll be transported to a game or interactive section like colouring in. There are pictures you can choose from every chapter, and because you can't go over the lines, it makes your painting a masterpiece every time. There's also a musical section where the characters come to life and sing the songs from the movie. And if you listen hard enough, you'll even find some tracks by Barry Manilow. Yep, it's true.
Let me lift you high above.
If you want to sing along, the words appear under the pictures, karaoke style. There are a few hidden features too, like jigsaws.
Congratulations!
Basically, Thumbelina's a well-designed package, though there's not much more to it than the story and a few extras. But it's perfect for the 3 to 8-year-old age group it's aimed at.
Maybe I could take notes. We are free and independent. We go everywhere and we kachi all the way. We're gonna teach you how to samba and to ramba and la bamba. Every number tambourina, say hola!
And now let's see what multimedia titles have made it into the top 10. Moving down one place to 10 is World Atlas and Almanac. MTV Unplugged is still making music at 9. A never-ending source of amusement is Dogs at 8. At 7, no change for Star Trek Omnipedia. There's little movement in this case for Pause at 6. Straight in at 5 is the sequel to Redshift, Discover Astronomy. Sting is still singing as he moves down 2 places to 4. At 3, there's no change for the film buffs package Cinemania 96. Redshift 2, Keeping Us Stargazing, moves up to 2. But still at number 1 is the amazing Encyclopedia Encarta 96. We've all heard about how amazing the internet is going to be, with lots of exciting stuff running at the speed of light to our super powerful, super friendly computers. Of course, right now, the reality of the net is something far slower and far less fun. Trying to convince us that internet pages are about to change were a bunch of suits at a recent World Wide Web Expo in Paris. It's true.
Pages are essentially static. They don't change. You make a request, you get a page. The World Wide Web beginning to emerge, however, is something much more object-oriented. And what that means is that when you select a page, that page will be created dynamically, on the fly, customized for you.
Part of this tailor-made web page future involves new add-ons to the web, like Shockwave, which makes putting animation in a page simple, and Java, which started out doing the same thing, but now does a whole lot more.
Java is a programming language for internet and interactivity over internet. What you can do with Java is, for example, download an application which is a 3D viewer on your machine.
The idea is to enable the bandwidth of the internet to replace the computer on your desktop, in effect, and have the computing be done in the network, and have a computer that's much simpler than today's, just to display the results.
Change, change, change. Will it ever stop? Judging by this exhibition, not for a while. The technology to make the net what it should be is already here, but it'll only happen when we can afford to put it in our homes. If you've ever had a go on the brilliant Redshift 2 astronomy package, then you'll be glad to hear that there's a sequel. Not called Redshift 3 as you might suspect, Discover Astronomy is basically a souped-up version of its predecessor. Just like Redshift, Discover Astronomy is also programmed by ex-employees of the Russian space program, so you can be sure that all the facts are pretty accurate. It's packed with information about the planet, sun and stars, just about everything to do with space. One of the best features of this package is the layout. It's very simple, yet very well presented. So if you want to check out anything from asteroids to the Big Bang and comets, they're rarely more than a click away. The video footage is very high quality, and the explanations are clear and concise.
Ordinary timekeeping is closely linked to the apparent position of the sun in the sky. Local time is a kind of solar time.
But if galaxies are more your kind of thing, then not surprisingly, there's loads about them too, including some footage about their history.
In the early universe, galaxies were much closer together than they are now. Collisions and mergers were common.
My favourite part of this package has to be the starry skylines. These demonstrate the position, movement and arrangement of stars in the sky at a particular time. You can find out how the planets move, or how the moon casts a shadow on our planet Earth. Just like Redshift, there's a photo library with pretty decent reproductions of photos taken of and from other planets. There aren't mountains of text on this CD, just the right amount to explain everything fairly thoroughly. Overall, Discover Astronomy really hits the mark and achieves what it sets out to do, which is present factual information clearly and in an interesting way. If you're into the stars, then home in on this one. Time travelers of the world unite, because Time Commando will soon be winging its way across time for all you PC and PlayStation owners. Taking on the role of an ordinary computer repairman with a passion for bodybuilding, it's up to you to save mankind and absolutely nothing must get in your way. You start off in prehistoric times where the only weapons to your name are your fists and feet, but as time progresses, you'll find yourself visiting main periods of history, and you'll be fortunate enough to pick up weapons like a spear, gun, sword, crossbow, and even a laser gun. And as you make your way through space and time, you'll get the chance to shake hands and then shake off all manner of nasty creatures. Time Commando will feature 9 periods of history, ranging from the classic American West, medieval Europe and ancient Rome, right through to the future and the world of the computer. As you continue your trek through time, your enemies will follow the same evolution, becoming much more aggressive, and of course at every major turn in time, you'll be dressed accordingly, so there's no excuse for looking out of place. Visually, it's really impressive, with all of the enemies and weapons in 3D, complete with real-time animation. The use of a roving camera will enable you, the game player, to move freely in a number of directions, as well as zoom in and out of the action. From what we've seen, Time Commando looks like being an impressive piece of software. It's brought to you by Adeline, the makers of the hit PC game Little Big Adventure, so it's bound to be a time-travelling opus through the galaxy. Well, talking of time, we've just run out of it, so off I go to prepare yet another amazing show. If you like the look of Power Soccer earlier on, then here's a bit more of the intro sequence just for you. Don't forget to keep all those letters and emails coming. See you soon.